What is going on, summoners? We're back here today with another champion deep dive. Today, we're talking about Beta Ray Bill. So, sit back and relax, because it's time to get into it. Beta Ray Bill enters the contest with an armor pulverizing hammer. His first medium attack pulverizes one armor up effect, removing it and dealing a burst of direct damage. He's also fully immune to shock and power drain effects. And when his power drain immunity triggers, he gains a power gain passive granting him 1 bar of power over 0.5 seconds. This has a cooldown of 14 seconds. He also reduces the potency of incoming bleed and poison effects by 50%. And when starting a fight against a tech champion, or when immune to an effect, he gains a steady buff for 20 seconds. While steady is active, attacks cannot glance. Additionally, equipping the Thor relic increases the potency of his personal buffs by 25%. Now, while charging a heavy attack, he gains an unstoppable buff. And while charging, all buffs on him and shocks on the opponent are paused. And he gains a 20% intensify buff every 0.4 seconds, up to 5 stacks. If struck while charging his heavy, this unstoppable goes on cooldown for 24 seconds. And when he releases his heavy, he gains a grit buff for 15 seconds. While above 2 bars of power, the opponent suffers an Intimidate passive while he's below 3 stacks of Intensify. At 5 stacks, it turns into an Infuriate passive. And if he activates his Special 2 while charging his heavy, he pauses all personal buffs until he's landed or been struck by 4 basic hits per Intensify gained. This effect does not trigger if it's already active. If this buff pause is not active, his basic attacks have a 10% chance to inflict a shock passive over 25 seconds, maxing out at 12 stacks. Starting a combo with a medium attack or while striking with a special 1 speeds up this expiration rate by 285%. And when any shock on the opponent ends, he deals a burst of energy damage. All shocks are paused during the opponent's special attacks and during Beta Ray Bill's Special 2. Also, the final hit of his special attacks refresh all shocks on the opponent. Now, let's check out his special attacks. On activation of the Special 1, he gains a Fury buff for 15 seconds, maxing out at 3 stacks. And during this attack, the potency of personal bursts is increased by 200%. Also, while his personal buff pause is active, when any shock expires on the opponent during this attack, he inflicts another personal shock passive. With the Special 2, the first hit grants a non-stacking 15% energize buff for 15 seconds. All lightning hits inflict a personal shock passive. And each Intensify buff grants a 10% chance to inflict these shocks through block. The Special 3. At the end of this attack, he gains a 60% resonance buff for 20 seconds, paused during special attacks. Resonance deals an additional burst of energy damage based on the hit damage dealt. Now, let's check out his signature ability. When awakened, the potency of personal bursts of damage is increased by up to 40%. Additionally, his unstoppable cooldown is reduced by up to 10 seconds. And while a personal unstoppable buff is active, damage taken is reduced by up to 100%, not including Special 3. Now, let's take him out for a spin in the champion rotation. To begin, strike the opponent to start building your power and inflicting your shocks. If your opponent has any armor up effects, focus on your first medium attack to pulverize and remove it. Launching your heavy will grant you a grit buff, allowing you to counter Unstoppable. In a shorter fight, once you reach your special 2, launch it to gain your energize, inflict more shocks, and refresh your stack. Then, start your next combos with a medium to speed up the expiration of your shocks. And time your special 1 so they burst during the attack. Now, in a longer fight, try to start your combos with a light attack to keep your shocks active longer. Also, don't forget, your steady buff will prevent your attacks from glancing. And when immune to a power drain effect, you'll gain a bar of power. Once above 2 bars, charge your heavy to intimidate and gain your intensify, then use your infuriate at 5 stacks to intercept with your special 2 and activate your buff pause. From here, make your way back up to special 2 and launch again to stack on more shocks. Reset your buff pause once it falls off to max out your shocks and finish your ramp. Then, switch to medium starting combos to burst the opponent down with massive special 1s until they're knocked out. And hey, keep in mind, that massive fury from your special 1 can stack up to 3 times, and it gains increased potency when equipped with the Thor relic. So, if you time your combos right, your special 1s could burst down an enormous health pool and have your opponent begging for mercy. Thank you for watching this champion deep dive for Beta Ray Bill. And hey, if you liked the video and want to see more, click subscribe, like, comment, and share. And if you haven't already, join the official Marvel Contest of Champions Discord and come discuss. And remember, we'll see you in the battle round.